We go. And we're live here on Facebook. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land and also YouTube. This week I have the special joy of welcoming a guest in the studio. But first, Rich, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mike. So, yeah, lost my train of thought there. Happens all the time.
How's the week?
I'm doing good.
Good week?
Yeah, good week. Got a chance to take a day off on Friday.
Nice.
Didn't get to watch as much NCAA basketball as I thought I would, as I probably spent most of the afternoon taking a nap instead of actually watching the game since I took the day off. But
Nor you
those days every once in a while.
Nor did you probably pick as good as you thought you were going to.
Yeah. Those picks didn't. I think I picked the upset. I didn't pick the upsets correctly.
Yeah.
As well as I thought I did.
I don't think anybody
But that's
did.
okay.
After Friday night's results, by the way, hi, it's Dad. I'm back.
Yeah. Our guest in the studio, Mike's dad, Joe Hart. He's been with us a couple of times on the air. If you're watching us on YouTube or on Facebook Live, he is off camera, but he is there in Esterville with Mike.
You can see him now because I'm showing you the camera from. I'm taking my camera away, and I don't have ability to do it that way. Sorry for all those that are getting sick right now. There you go.
It didn't move anywhere on my end, so
Yeah,
I don't
yours
think
didn't. You're on that camera. I
Oh.
have two cameras set up. One is for you to see me, and then one is for everybody to see me. Everybody else to see me.
Gotcha. Well, a big show, Mike. And Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great. Allergies are hitting me a little bit, so I'm getting there, but we'll see. That's why my voice is so raspy and good,
Gotcha.
sounding good today.
It's
Anyway,
called sexy, bud.
yeah. So we have a huge show. We thought by putting some stuff off last week, we were going to be able to get all of it covered this week. But more news comes out this week, even crazier news and crazy stuff happening in the NFL. NFL made it an exciting week and made the week about them, which upset some newscasters or some sports broadcasters. So we have NFL talk. We have some MLB games happening, kind of.
Yeah. Spring training games at least.
Rich, what else do we have on the outline while we?
We'll be going into the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, to give you the results of Phoenix and give you a preview of Atlanta. And if we have time, Mike, we'll even talk about some of the news and notes coming out of the transactions that come out of MLB with the lockout being lifted, with those stars that didn't get the sign while the lockout was going on in new teams. So that'll be an if time. And there's some shakeups in the broadcast booth to kind of talk about.
Yeah.
As well as Russell Wilson speaks out.
Yeah.
That was something that was a leftover from last weekend, which we'll hit in our quick hits, Mike. All that and more, Mike, after we do what?
Roll the intro! Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. Okay, so first thing we got to do, we are doing music in sports. And this is going to probably might take a whole year.
This could take a while.
This is going to be a long time. Lots of sports songs, lots of music about sports music, all of the above. Last week, we did Roll Out the Barrels, or the real name, Beer Barrel Polka, versus Deep in the Heart of Texas. So, one being played in Milwaukee, one being played in a couple towns in Texas.
That's right. So, Mike, I went with Roll Out the Barrel. I've been to more Brewers games. It's grown on me. The first time I heard it, I was like, what is this? Or what are they doing? but the more Brewers games I went to, Brewers Cubs games I went to, the more I liked it. And also, it was a Cubs Brewers game that kind of my wife and I had kind of like our first date, maybe not a date at. So that it's Miller Park's got a special place in my heart. So.
I can understand that. I get behind that. By the way, the one time I've seen Deep in the Heart of Texas done was at Miller Park.
Yeah, it was.
And it was,
Yes, it was.
one of my top 3 greatest baseball movie or baseball events that I've ever been a part of. Probably the greatest game I've ever seen played.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Carlos Zambrano pitching a no-hitter in Milwaukee against the Houston Astros. So I had to go with Deep in the Heart of Texas. Joe, do you have a preference between Deep in the Heart of Texas and Roll Out the Barrels?
I used to go square dancing at the county home in Davenport, old folks' home in Davenport, and we would always do Roll Out the Barrel every week.
Okay, well, you learn something new every day, and today I learned that my dad square danced. I don't know how I feel about that, but okay. So technically, if he was on Facebook, he would make it tight again. But because he's not on Facebook, Deep in the Heart of Texas wins 3-2.
All right. So this week, Mike, we're going to stay along the lines of songs that you're probably only going to hear at 2 specific ballparks. So we're going to go with the songs that play after victories for both of these teams, being I Love LA for the LA Dodgers and New York, New York, the song that plays after every Yankees victory. So that's going to probably go live after this week. After today's show. I Love LA, New York, New York. So, Mike, the NCAA tournament has been going on. Have you had a chance to watch or kind of follow any of the action?
I've been able to at least follow the action for the most part. I've not necessarily been able to. I've not been able to do a great job on watching it, but I've been able to follow the action.
Yeah, same here. I watched a lot on Thursday. I don't know if it's because more of the game I was more interested in the Thursday games than Friday's games. And so I really didn't watch as much on Friday, even though I have more time to do it. So I'm not sure how much I'll be able to watch of the second round. So our tourney pick'em, Mike. We had 6 people sign up.
Yep.
So thank you for everyone that signed up to join our pool pick'em. Mike, you're the current leader with 25 correct picks, but if you're going by projected points overall, you're in second as Alicia has 24 correct points, but with the team she has remaining, if all of her picks are correct, she would be on top with 180.
By the way, she is really good at this.
She does.
Every year she does. She's one of the top 3 spots, and she has legitimately been a number 1 contender almost every time we've done one of these. She does a great job. Alicia, thanks for joining. We appreciate it. After her, David Hovinga, Pastor David up here, is in 3rd place with 23 points. But projected points, Mark, which is that Alicia's husband?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Alicia's husband.
I thought that's who that was. Mark actually would be in 3rd place if current projections take hold. And David would be in 4th. And then you and Amy, both your picks and your picks, you're tied for 4th.
Yep.
But your projections, you're 10 points down.
Yeah. Some of those upsets just didn't come through. Why? I think I picked the wrong 12-5 upset. It was hilarious. We were watching the Iowa game, and directly after that game ended, they ran like an AT&T ad talking about Oh, there's always a 12-5 matchup. There's always a 12-5 upset every single year in the tournament. And
So,
I
Rich, did
picked
you
the
get
wrong
any
one.
upsets right?
Ooh, any upset traits? I got the Michigan. I got the
Okay,
Michigan
I got
upset
that one
right.
as well.
I need to look at my bracket real quick to see.
Did you get the
Um,
Iowa State win?
no, I didn't.
Ooh, okay.
I got an 11-6 Notre Dame over Alabama.
I thought I had picked that one, but apparently I had changed my mind on that one. I was not. I did not actually meet. I thought I picked Notre Dame on that one, but
Yeah.
apparently I backed out of that one.
Yeah, that was really about it. None
That
of my
Kentucky
12
one
fives
is
came up.
the Kentucky one's the one that's killed most brackets.
Oh yeah,
I
I had them in the Final Four.
As did
Really
I.
did.
I totally did have them in the Final Four. I thought they were going to be. They were that good. Then again, the more you look at Kentucky's program, they always do decent and they're always ranked really high, but they never. I'm starting to realize, maybe not realize, but I'm starting to feel that Kentucky is not the team. They don't have the cohesiveness to be the great team that they're always projected to be,
Yeah, and
because
that's
they're full of one and dones.
Yeah, that's their entire roster building philosophy: is get the best recruits that are only going to probably be in the program for 1 year, and hope that they can play well together to have a good run. So you mentioned Kentucky. Any other like surprise teams that maybe that pulled off an upset run, that pulled off an upset that could continue to do damage in the tournament?
So I think any t- so I think I'm trying to think of any that I think. I don't know that any I think any of them are going to continue to. Notre Dame maybe, except that Texas Tech team just looked great.
But they were playing a JV squad.
I mean, they were
Montana
playing.
State is nobody.
Yeah, but still scoring almost 100 in college. That's still a pretty good feat.
The
Good to see
starters on
Richmond going
Montana,
on.
the starters on Montana State wouldn't have made the team at Texas Tech.
I don't know. I think they might. I think a couple of their guys could have made backup. But what were you saying, Rich?
Yeah, do you think Richmond could keep on going
Um,
against Providence?
no, Providence. Providence was gonna destroy Iowa anyway. I know we have a lot of fans that are Iowa fans, and I'm okay with angering you when I say that Providence was gonna make Iowa look like fools. I think Providence is gonna handle Richmond. I don't think that's one that's gonna do that. I think locally you'll have a lot of Iowa fans that will probably have put Iowa into the next round and beating Providence, but there was no way they were going to do that.
I was one of them. I was one.
You
that put
were?
Iowa on.
Wow.
I did.
Wow. The problem with Iowa's game is that so last year Bohannon, he's a run and dump if he doesn't have the shot. His assists went down this year, which means he doesn't have somebody to throw the ball to. He doesn't have somebody that he can
Second scorer.
Yeah, he doesn't have a second scorer on the team, and without that second scorer, that team is nothing. And so that's why I thought they should handle Richmond, but that's why I had no confidence in them and their ability against Providence. And I continue to stand on that.
Okay.
I
So
think
Mikey, both.
I think
Go
the
ahead,
second
Joe.
round is going to be very much to form, because there was a report Thursday night that said that with 4 wins, this year's tournament had set the record for the most double-digit seeds.
Five. By the way, 5 of them, not just 4. 4 tied the record. 4 tied the record.
Oh, but there were 3 more on Friday,
and there were 3 more. 4 tied it, and that was 2010 was the last time we've seen that, and that was the record. 4 number one or 4 double-digit teams beating a single-digit team. So now we had 4 more yesterday.
4 more. I only counted 3.
Oh, I thought you. Okay, you're right.
Miami, Notre Dame, and Iowa State.
Yep, you're right. So 3 more happened yesterday.
So you've got 7 of the 32 being double-digit seeds. I think it's going to go very much according to the seeding form. I don't think there's going to be any excitement this weekend.
Will the Sweet 16? Will the Sweet 16 have upsets? That's going to be the question. That'll be a question for next week. We'll talk about it a little bit more then. Rich, any final thoughts on the tournament before we head into...
Not really. I noticed looking at both of our brackets, Mike, we both said Gonzaga was going to win it.
Yep.
So does Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, okay. However, the rest of the Final Four, now that Kentucky is out, we differed coming out of the South and the Midwest. You put Villanova and Wisconsin. I put... I'm going to bring it up. I hit the wrong button here.
By the way, I stand by my picks.
Oh, yeah.
Wisconsin is one that I have some fear on. Not necessarily that I fear because it being Wisconsin. I actually think Wisconsin has a good team. My fear is the curse of the Big Ten. The Big Ten was the best, according to how many people you had in the make the tournament. The Big Ten was the best tournament team or division conference. They had the most teams in there, and now they have 2 teams left.
They have Wisconsin and Illinois, yeah.
The top of the Big Ten usually
and
underperforms.
Ohio State's still in it.
Oh yeah, 3. Okay.
And Ohio State just barely made it in. That's hard to talk about them being strong, scoring 54 points in a victory.
Yeah. Either way, the Big Ten scares me in the tournament. Always has. I don't know why. Wisconsin, from what I've seen this year, looks to be a good team.
I like Big Ten double-digit seeds because those mid guys can beat Sun Belt Conference champions or something like that. They get matched up about in a 5-12 or something.
So, Rich, did you get yours up? You were gonna.
I did. I went Arizona and Kansas to come out of the South and the Midwest.
Kansas is one of those teams that I've seen, and aren't they Big 12?
Yeah,
they are in the Big 12. Yes.
Yeah, the Big 12 is another one of those that tends to poop the bed when it comes to tournament play. They have teams that come in and look great, especially in the first round. They do well in the first round, but after the first round, they tend to fizzle out. So that's why I couldn't go with Kansas. But
all right, fair enough. Arizona's looked at least on paper, looks to be one of the better teams in the tournament too.
Hey, Rich, do you see what's coming up?
Is it a left turn, Mike?
Yup, and Dad, what's after that left turn?
Another left turn.
Because we're heading into the NASCAR Corner, presented by III Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out on 5th Avenue, right? Yeah, I got it right this time. Moline, or at their online store. Once again, that's III Sports Cards Incorporated. Last week, we saw the roll-off Mortgage 500 in Phoenix. Rich, you picked Martin Truex Jr. Not so hot of a day.
Nope, not too hot.
Finished 35th. I picked Denny Hamlin. Finished 15th. Your winner, Chase Briscoe. Rich, did you get to watch the race?
I did.
Through
I
your
did
NASCAR
watch
nap?
the race. It with probably with the NASCAR nap, obviously. Um, for because we let's give the fantasy side
Yep.
real quick. Because we did a fuel only pit stop last week. The fantasy results from Vegas. I won on the fantasy side at 217. Mikey came in second with 213. Dupo had 199. The Funkhouse 184 and Easers 130.
Ooh.
From Phoenix, Easers won with 168. I was second with 152. Mikey were third with 149. Bringing the overall standings, Dupo still has the lead at 704. The Bunkhouse has 682 and is in second place. I'm up to third place, Mike, with 668. The Easers are in fourth with 550, 659, and Mike, you're still bringing up the rear at 609s, but you're getting closer, Mike.
I am. I'm looking like I'm competitive at least now. Okay. This week we are heading into the Folds of Honor Quick Trip with a Q, not the K Quick Trips that we have here in the Midwest, 500, in Atlanta Motor Speedway. But Rich, what should we know about this Atlanta Motor Speedway?
You know, Mike, it's got a new pavement. It's been redone to where they're going to use the same package that they use for super speedways. So it's kind of hard to predict this race because you can't look at past experience of Atlanta because nobody has technically raced on this track at its new current configuration.
Yeah. So they've added progressive banking, which means that the higher lines can use their speed a lot better. They stick to the angle is higher, so that higher angle means that it doesn't take as much turning force to force the cars to make it around. Just for those that don't know, and because of that, they can tend to stay faster on the higher end, whereas even though your inner line doesn't have as high a banking, it's a shorter enough track that it's a long enough track that the shorter line of the inside line will allow people to make up the time that they can't of the speed that they can't. So it's going to be interesting to see what those two very distinct lines that are going to be this time, because progressive banking, the banking at the bottom is a lot less than what's at the top. That difference is going to be a game changer, and it's going to be more fun to watch. I'm excited about it. So
on the fantasy side, for me, I'm not looking at guys. This is a race where I would be looking to save my uses.
Okay.
Or I'm looking at guys that do well at the super speedways when filling out my lineup. So
I don't think it's going to be as much of a wide open race, though. They're still going to have to brake. They're still going to have to slow down in the corners a little bit. I believe. Again, we don't know. This is a lot of guesstimation on it. But
exactly. So because of the unknown, I'm not going to probably fill my lineup with guys that I know I can look at track history and know where they've had good success in the past on. So one guy that that's not going to be in my lineup, even though he's had a success in Atlanta in the past, Kyle Larson.
Okay.
Because you know how good he is elsewhere.
Yep.
Elsewhere. But I still think he's a good pick to win the race, though. But I'm not going to waste a fantasy use.
Speaking of which,
on him, though.
We are tied at 2 apiece. My win last week gives me first pick. I'm going to pick Brad Keselowski.
All right, Mike. I with Atlanta, I don't have anything to say as far as I don't know about that pick, or that's a bad pick.
That new team hasn't been strong all year, though. They've been middle of the pack in every race. I'm not sure they've got a top 15 yet.
All right. So, Joe, who do you like in the race?
I like Kyle Larson. I think he's a good rim runner, and he'll be up there up against the wall the whole race.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney.
Okay.
I have no basis at this. For this race, I basically just want my guy to finish higher than yours. So I can get a good pick with a road racer since they're going to Road America next week.
Nice. I like that. So something we hinted at last week but never actually talked about. NASCAR is looking to go electric. Kind of.
Yeah, they're going to take a look at an electric exhibition series.
Yeah. I don't know that you can call it an exhibition series. But yeah, starting to get and figure out what an electric race could look like. Steve Phelps, the president, NASCAR's president, said he would love to see an electric race, and he actually sees it in the future. We'll see what happens.
That has about as much appeal to me as converting Bristol to a dirt track.
To me, it actually has a little bit more. I think the electric races could be more fun. You're more worried about your tire wear and your aero package than you are your engine and how to conserve your electrical use.
But it runs away so far from where stock car racing came out of.
Kind of. But the idea of a stock car race is that the cars are cars you can go buy. Can you go buy an electric car today? If you had the money, could you go write a check and buy an electric car today? Yes or no?
You could. But
okay.
Why would you want to buy an electric Mustang?
I wouldn't buy an electric Mustang, but I want an electric car because, I want to, for getting me home to work every day will cost me about as much as 1 month worth of fuel for my current car for an entire year. That's not a bad thing. By the way, that's one. Two, how many moving parts do electric vehicles have?
Not many.
How many? I guess the question is, how many moving parts do electric motors have?
Yeah, not many.
One. So how many parts are there to brake on an electric car, on an electric motor?
You're taking away all the engineering out of NASCAR.
No, you're not.
All the tweaking to get the...
No, you're not. They still have all the aero engineering. Yes, they have a template, but you have to determine... You have to still make that template. One, two. How about the suspension engineering? You take that out? No, you have to. And in fact, the suspension engineering becomes harder because now your vehicle is 2 to 3 times heavier.
The tradition of NASCAR has been, how can I get that last horsepower out of my engine?
Yeah.
And that's not going to be in play anymore. With an engine built with brushes, there's not going to be...
You're right. It's going to take out some of the souping up my engine concept. But there's still plenty of how do I squeeze how do I get that energy into the ground? And that's still a huge part of NASCAR. In fact, most NASCAR, that your engine is limited in the amount of horsepower it's allowed to make. And so what your engineering is making sure your engine can handle that for sustained periods of time. It's not about how to get more horsepower out. It's how to make sure the horsepower does not destroy my engine as I continue to use it. That's what NASCAR is now. So I'm all for it. Bring it on. Rich, what's your thoughts?
Oh, when I first saw that, I kept on thinking of the Larry McReynolds, the potential Larry McReynolds analysis that he provides in game of, well, it might be time for might be start seeing teams come in for the battery swap pit stop, as most of these cars are got to be around X amount of percentage on the charge. And maybe at that second battery swap pit stop, is it come down to, well, we might need to keep you out there a little bit longer because we need time. We need a little bit more time for the backup battery to finish charging. So
we'll see if they have, if they're going to be able to do battery changes like that.
yeah. So that's the only thing that came to my mind when I saw that. It's like, how would pit stops work for this thing?
The big one's going to be mostly, you're the only reason you're going to pit is going to be for tires.
And now that they've got it to the single nut hubs,
Yeah.
that's becoming less of a challenge.
Less, but they're still having a lot of challenges with that. I was actually going to bring that up this week, so thanks for bringing that up. The amount of times that, because you have to get it pretty precise, and you have to torque it to an exact spec. We no longer torque to yield, we torque to a spec. And if you how much of the races have you watched?
Oh, I didn't even take a NASCAR nap last week.
There were guys still having trouble either getting them off right or getting them on right. Do you agree or disagree?
I've been surprised how many guys have dropped that the hub nut when after they take the old tire off.
So what you're saying is that it's still actually a problem. Yes, you're taking out. You may have one loose lug nut.
Oh, if you've got one loose lug, you're in trouble.
Right, but there's still that is still a factor, and it's still an issue. So, okay, any other NASCAR topics you want to talk about, Rich?
No, not really. Jeff Gordon is going to return to the booth in Atlanta. He'll be up with Clint Boyer and Mike Joy this week.
I thought Mike Joy was off this week. I thought
Mike Joy?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. We'll see. I think
But he'll be in the booth in Atlanta. All right. So keeping the show moving along. The NFL off season.
Wow.
So we kind of put this on hold from last week because
Yeah.
there was a lot to unpack with the baseball's lockout ending, and even putting it on hold, two big name quarterbacks got traded, which is why we titled the show Quarterback Musical Chairs. So the big names that moved around, Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay. Russell Wilson goes from Seattle to Denver. Deshaun Watson last night goes from Houston to Cleveland. Tom Brady comes out of retirement and is going to go back to Tampa. And Carson Wentz going from Indy to Washington.
Yeah.
And then
We're going to ask the question.
Go ahead.
And it was asked by Dan Patrick this week, and it was my thought for what could be a sports poll question if we wanted to do a sports poll question this week. Which did you find more surprising? Tom Brady's retirement or Tom Brady's coming out of retirement? We'll go with you first, Rich.
I'm going to go with Tom Brady's retirement.
Yep.
I think it didn't surprise me that he came out of retirement. I almost think that maybe he used the retirement as a way to maybe see if Tampa would release his rights so that he could then in turn come out of retirement with a different team of his choosing.
But just like Rodgers, I don't think Brady could find a better situation than the one he has in Tampa.
So, were you surprised by his retirement or his retirement from retirement?
The initial retirement.
Yeah, that 3 for 3. I think the fact that, so we were in Mankato at the time, and Dad/Joe, you texted me Tom Brady retired, and I'm like, wait, what? And that was when the rumor started, and then it was said it wasn't, and then it came out that it actually was, and now it turns out it wasn't again.
I mean, if anything, kudos for Tampa for holding out and not maybe overreacting and trying to trade for another quarterback to take his spot.
Yeah. So, biggest improvement in the quarterback position is?
improvement in the quarterback position by a team to improve their quarterback situation. I don't know if it'll help them win their division, but they get a better. I think they greatly improved their under center. I'd have to go with Denver with Russell Wilson.
That was going to be my statement. I actually think it's a bad move for them. They have a decent team, but are they going to be able to come out of the West?
No.
The West is going to kick each other's butt all year.
And they may only get one team in the playoffs. Because everybody will be around 500.
Right. So if Denver is that bad, if they don't win the division, they may not make the playoffs.
Exactly. Every team in the West has improved,
but
not just Denver.
If you've improved that much, you're not going to be one of those teams that gets a great draft pick. So now you've just set yourself up for mediocrity going forward. You're not going to be able.
Even if they do get a good draft pick, it's going to go to Seattle.
Yep. So I actually don't like that call in Denver. I think for Russ, it was a great call. It gets him a new venue. It gets him better. I think it gets him a better fan base. I know that Seattle used to be the place to be for fans, but Denver has more fans across the country. And then on top of it, that team looks like they're a good team. But again, you're playing in the West. Is that where you want to be? Now, I have a theory on why it happened the way it did. I think Russell wanted to go to Green Bay.
Okay, explain.
I think Russell... Where's he from?
He played one season at the University of Wisconsin.
Isn't he from the Wisconsin area? I thought he was from Wisconsin. We have our fact checker over here looking it up for us.
Yeah, I don't think he was. I know he originally played a couple of seasons at Wisconsin before.
I'm pretty sure he's a Midwest boy anyway, but I thought it was Wisconsin.
He graduated from high school in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, okay. Well, then I was wrong. But I still think he wanted to go to Green Bay. And he was waiting for Aaron to announce what he was doing.
Wilson was born at the Christ Hospital in Cincinnati and grew up in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
All right.
So
Thank you, Joe.
I think that I think he wanted to go to Green Bay. I think he saw everything that Aaron Rodgers saw, and the reason why Aaron Rodgers came back, and I think that's why he ended up where he did.
All right. So besides the money, do you think Deshaun Watson made the right choice in saying that, oh yeah, I want to go to Cleveland, trade me to Cleveland?
Yeah. I think Cleveland is good enough that I think that Deshaun is a good enough improvement to make Cleveland a viable team. I still think Baker is a viable quarterback. I think he's one of the top 15 in the league. But I think Deshaun is a top 10, maybe even a top 5. And so Deshaun going there improves that team enough to make them at minimum a playoff contender, and I would say even a conference. I would say he's a conference contender. They are a conference contender now.
Cleveland's been a burial ground for half a century.
But who have they gotten?
Well, they've had 2 Heisman winners in the last 10 years.
Okay, what is the history of Heisman winners in the NFL? Not great.
Well, it's been a mixed bag. But I don't think... ever since Paul Brown got kicked off the team, kicked out of management of the team back in the late 50s, Cleveland hasn't done a thing. they've got the longest championship playoff drought of any franchise in the major sports. They haven't won a championship since
By the
56, I believe.
Okay, how many Heisman Trophy winners have won the Super Bowl?
I'll go 5, Mike.
Give me a guess.
That sounds about right.
18.
Hmm.
That's double digits. But you're telling me that your metric for how good the team should be because they've gotten 2 Heisman winners? Only 18 Heisman winners. The Heisman has been around since you were a baby.
Well, before
Ooh,
that.
Mike.
Yeah,
Mike, is that Heisman Trophy quarterbacks or just Heisman Trophy winners in general?
I believe it's just winners in general.
Break it down to where how many Heisman Trophy quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl.
Okay. You guys talk amongst yourselves while I do some maths. Okay.
All right. So Joe, what do you think of Carson Wentz going to Washington? Do you think that was an improvement over who they could have taken in the draft, or do you still see them maybe drafting somebody and using Carson Wentz as a bridge?
I see the draft as being deficient this year. So I think that Washington did better in taking Wentz for the short term. I don't see Wentz as a star. He'll be a serviceable quarterback, but he won't make anybody forget about anybody else except Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky going up to Pittsburgh. Does that stop them from drafting somebody this year?
I don't think
Or do
I don't think there's anybody in the draft that's going to get a starting job. I think the quarterback class this year is so weak.
So, Rich,
Okay, Mike.
was
how many
your
Heisman
guess
Trophy quarterbacks?
based on quarterbacks?
It was.
Was yours based on quarterbacks or was it based overall?
Quarterbacks.
Okay, you are both correct. 5.
Ooh, okay. Who were they?
5. Oh man, I just deleted it. I got out of it because I had a number for you. I'm sorry. I was trying to.
All right.
But it's still 5.
Marino,
5.
Elway,
No.
Montana.
Marino didn't win it.
He didn't?
No.
Marino never won a Super Bowl.
Never won a Super Bowl.
He wasn't there in 72?
No.
No.
He was in the same draft that Elway was. In 83?
He's that young?
Yeah. Marino and Elway were in the same draft class.
Huh.
Yeah. And I don't think Elway won the Heisman.
I want to step back a couple steps while you're looking that up. George Patton, general manager of the Broncos, said that they expect to make Russell Wilson will be in the final year of his contract this year. They expect to make Russell Wilson the highest paid quarterback in NFL history.
Cam Newton. This one. Cam Newton. Matt Leinart was a quarterback, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Liner was. He appeared in the Super Bowl.
He appeared. He won the Super. He's one of the 5, by the way. Won the Heisman.
And he won't make it to the Hall of Fame.
Nope.
You know what, Mike? I mean, there were 18 Heisman Trophy winners
Yeah.
that have made it onto the Super Bowl. But as far as winning the quarterback, being the quarterback on the winning team,
Jim
I
Plunkett.
think you have Jim Plunkett and probably Roger Staubach.
And Roger Staubach. And did Jim...
And
Oh,
John Hurt, so that's 3.
John Hurt. So
So really, it's even less than 5 if you
Yeah,
if you pare it down to how many people actually won the Super Bowl.
yeah, you're right. You're right. These are appearances.
Wow.
not- Yeah. So there you go.
Crazy.
Cam Newton didn't win. Matt Leinart.
Didn't win.
I thought the Cardinals won.
No, the
No,
Cardinals lost
that's right.
that Super Bowl to the Steelers.
They did. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. 3 Heisman-winning quarterbacks also won the Super Bowl. Explain to me again how that is a good metric for how good your quarterback is. Lawyered.
All right. So, Mike, 2 other wide receivers got traded off.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams going up to Vegas. Amari Cooper going to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Those are big news. And the Bears decided to go all into in rebuild mode. Khalil Mack is now in L.A. getting reunited with former defensive assistant for the Bears, Brian Staley.
Yeah.
Now the head coach of the Bolts. So, Mike, give me maybe 1 or 2 teams in each
I might have
conference.
just deleted everything. I'm sorry. I just closed out of
That's fine.
something.
So who do you think has improved the most? Maybe 1 team in each conference with the moves that they have made. Oh, also another big name, Allen Robinson. Not going back to the Bears as expected.
No, I think I might have.
He signs with the Rams.
I think I might have closed out the thing.
The entire show.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh.
Like, we have the first half of it done. Let me see if I can get into it. It's still live.
Okay, good. So teams that have improved the most, Mike. Which moves do you think that have been made and are on the books have improved maybe 1 or 2 teams in each conference?
The Bolts.
The Bolts. All right. So the Bolts, they re-signed Mike Williams. They got Khalil Mack. They got J.C. Jackson to come out of New England. I like that.
And then number 2, in the same division, the Broncos.
All right.
Russell Wilson is such an upgrade for them that it doesn't it is a skyward trajectory for that team to get him versus what they had before. So,
do you think he deserves to be the highest paid quarterback in NFL history?
pretty close.
Really?
Yeah. And if they let him cook, you're going to see it this year. If they let him cook. So, I'm a upset one of our fans of the show, David Hovinga. The only reason Tom Brady is the greatest of all time is because he took pay cuts. He was the most underpaid player on that team for as many years as he was, because he knew that if he took those pay cuts, he could get people around him that would make him look great.
I'll agree, totally.
Russell Wilson is one of the, I would say he's probably, he has more skills than anybody in the league other than my least favorite quarterback at the moment, Aaron Rodgers. Everybody else, I think he's head and shoulders above. And when you watched last year as they let him cook, they let Russ do Russ, he was great.
You
So
think he's
go ahead.
You think he's better than Stafford?
Yeah. Which is saying something for me. I've been a Stafford apologist since before we had the podcast, right, Rich?
Yep.
Yeah. But, again, I think Stafford... I don't know that he actually is better than Stafford, but I think Stafford has never been allowed to do anything until this last year. He
never had playmakers around him until this last year.
If he continues to do what he did this last year, quickly he runs up the ranks. I think he went from being a mid-tier quarterback 3 years ago
to a top 5.
To a top 5 this year. And I think if he continues to play this way, he quickly gets into the conversation of top 3. And if that continues, then he'll be in the argument for top 1. But I still think it's Aaron Rodgers, Russ, I got to go with Tom Brady. He knows the game so well. You have to go with Tom Brady, and then probably I would say Stafford probably there, and then after that you. I need to see what Deshaun's going to do, so I can't put him at number 5. I'm trying to think who else I would put if I could talk myself out of Lamar. I don't think I can give it to Dak. I think I got to give it to Lamar Jackson. There's your top 5. Dak,
not Kyler Murray.
No.
Not who's in Buffalo.
Ooh.
You got to put Josh Allen in your top 5 now.
I don't know if
What about Patrick Mahomes? Did you mention Mahomes?
Yeah.
Who do you take out? Who do you take out? What?
I take Wilson out.
You take Wilson. You take I can agree with Lamar. I can put Lamar under Mahomes definitely. So for Mahomes, I'll take out Lamar. You say take out Russell. Rich, do you take out Russell? Or do you move Russell down?
Just the top 5 QBs.
Yeah. Top 5 QBs.
If I don't have to put them in any order.
No order whatsoever.
All right, I probably would have to go with Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, only because he's done so well so many years.
Yep.
I probably would go Rodgers.
I see how much that hurts you. I agree. It hurts me that much too. But
I know. I'm just trying to think.
So now you've got your 5th pick. Who's your 5th pick?
5th. Man.
Do you have yours ready?
Watson with an asterisk.
I think I'd go Matt Stafford right now.
Okay. I agree with you, Rich, more than I agree with Watson as my 5th. I don't know that I think Josh Allen could very easily, but I don't know that I'm ready to go there yet.
All right.
I think defensives in general have figured out the running quarterbacks. Jackson, Murray.
Yeah. So, Rich, where do you want to go next?
How
about you give me?
I didn't give you a team.
Yeah.
I think in the AFC, the moves that I've liked so far to improve the team, I'd have to go with the Bengals.
Yep.
They saw that their offensive line was a weak point. They signed 2 really good guys that could kind of close that gap and still leave them the option of either drafting more offensive linemen in the draft or looking at their defense. If I had to give you an NFC team that I've liked what they've done, it'd have to be the Buccaneers.
Okay.
They waited out Tom Brady to see if he would come back instead of rushing in and getting the next quarterback, and they brought in a good slot receiver for him in Russell Gage that could easily take some pressure off of Chris Godwin so they're not rushing him back from injury.
My big loser in the NFL in the offseason is the Rams. They lost Von Miller and they cut Johnny Hecker. Johnny Hecker is worth at least 6 points a game as a punter because of the field position that he gains. And to cut him, not trade him, but they just flat out cut him, is astounding.
Yeah, I think that's not the worst argument that I've heard.
Yeah, for me, maybe a team that's kind of has a little bit more work to do. I'd have to say the Colts.
Yeah.
I don't blame them for moving on from Carson Wentz. If you have everybody but if you have the head coach saying that, you know what, I was wrong for sticking up for the guy and saying this was the guy I want, I can help him and he can lead us to the playoffs, and it didn't happen. But to go into it and trade him and not have a backup plan of who's going to take his spot, is kind of a head scratcher for me.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
All right, Mike. So where are we at on time?
We are at 54 minutes.
54. So let's go ahead and let's put the MLB on hold. we could easily talk about post-lockout transactions next week as part of our MLB preview,
Yep.
as well as some rule changes that are going into effect in the minors. Um,
I'm just thrilled they're
so
going to have 168 games this year.
62.
me too.
62.
Me too.
Real quick, we do have to mention we have to go to our quick hits and talk about broadcasters. First, we have to say what a shocking loss to the broadcast community to lose John Clayton, NFL and ESPN reporter. Was one of the guys that you always knew was he's always been an NFL or an ESPN guy and done great, and
Yeah.
so that's shocking.
He was Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
He was probably, when we were younger, he was our Adam Schefter.
Rich, you have a change here. Speaking of, while we continue to talk NFL change, losing a broadcaster and then changes to the ESPN, you can confirm the two that I just highlighted?
Kirk Herbstreit has agreed to go to Amazon. Al Michaels, I believe, is the favorite to sign a multi-year deal, and he will do Thursday Night Football for Amazon with Herbstreit.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's been confirmed yet.
Okay.
Because Al Michaels is likely to leave NBC because his contract was up, Mike Tirico is going to go from doing pregame to play-by-play with Chris Collinsworth. And probably the biggest move was Joe Buck and Troy Aikman both leaving Fox to go to ESPN to be the voice of Monday Night Football.
Does this mean that that our October is going to be Joe Buck free?
It could be, because they haven't announced if Joe Buck will still be on Fox Baseball or not. But they have said that Joe Buck will not be won't be doing baseball for ESPN. I could see them bringing Joe Buck maybe in if ESPN gets the rights to broadcast one of the wild card games. If they need a second crew, I could see him doing that, being brought in. But they said that he will not take the place of whoever does their telecast for Sunday Night Baseball, though.
Yeah. Okay.
So with Fox, you could get your National League, you could get your Championship Series and World Series telecast now be Joe Buck free on Fox.
I just am astounded at the audience that these guys have lost.
What do you mean?
Al Michaels going from NBC, the most watched program in television, to Amazon.
Amazon pays a lot of money. Plus, Amazon is going to has exclusive rights to Thursday nights, which they're making Thursday night games real games now.
But the viewership is going to be way down compared to what he got on Sunday night.
I disagree. I think the viewership is down in your demographics. Younger people have loved it and will continue to love it. I'm all for it.
Are more people going to buy up Amazon Prime because of that?
I think Amazon Prime will be used by more people because of that. I think people buy it already. People love Amazon Prime. So
with Buck and Aikman, I could see your argument if their audience got smaller because they're going to ESPN. Because how many cord cutters do you have that can't get ESPN because either they don't want cable at all or they don't want to pay the money? Because even if you have ESPN Plus, you can't watch live ESPN, some live ESPN contact without logging in with your cable or satellite provider.
I think the bigger argument for that is now Joe Buck and Troy Aikman have to have an opponent at the game they're watching as we watch the expansion of the Manning cast or Manning Night Football.
I think ESPN's got to drop the Manning cast because I don't think people will leave Joe Buck to go watch the Manning cast.
I don't think. I actually think more people. So what you don't get is, especially online, and people of my generation hate Joe Buck.
Why?
Rich, do you want to field that? Because I don't have a good answer. I have never hated Joe Buck.
Neither have I. I really mean maybe because there's the chant of F Joe Buck.
There is that chant. Everybody says that he's against their team because he tries to call as neutral of a game as he can everywhere. Doesn't matter.
I'd take Buck and Aikman over Nance and Romo any day.
I disagree, actually. I love Romo and Nance. For me, is right now the premier duo, and I would put that against Collinsworth and Al Michaels, because that's currently who we have, and I would put that against Buck and Aikman any day of the week.
Romo is so inconsistent. He gets lost in the weeds so often, and Nance is the Masters.
He gets lost in bringing you into the weeds. He's not lost in the weeds. He gets lost trying to bring you into the game so you understand the game better. Whereas Aikman and Buck, they're just trying to play a neutral game, except when it comes to games in Dallas, as Aikman has a few times complained about either not getting those games or is very non-neutral when it comes to Dallas games. But that's besides the point. Rich, what are your thoughts? What's your favorite team of the main broadcast? As we don't know what Fox is going to do yet for their A team.
Yeah, with what we know, I kind of like NBC's broadcast team of Collinsworth and right now Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico usually calls a really good game.
Yes. He's solid.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Okay, spoiler alert. Dad, you could probably leave at this point if you wanted to, because you legitimately walked out in the middle of it while we were watching Masked Singer last night. So we're going to talk our Masked Singer spoiler recap. Spoiler alert.
God.
Okay, Rich.
All right.
What do you think of the episode?
To be honest with you, I'm starting to get tired of the Firefly.
Yeah, her drama's a little annoying.
Second straight week, she had to excuse herself from the stage to go into a little dressing room area to get out of her costume temporarily, collect herself, and then come back on the stage.
Last week I didn't have as much of an issue with it because it seemed like it was an actual, she was coughing, she had some sort of actual issue. Mm-hmm. This week it was drama based and I had an issue with it. But yeah.
And then what happens when she comes back on the stage? After a performance, the panel is praising her, saying, "Oh, you have so much courage. You're a fighter. We're getting back up here, fighting through those."
Last week it was. This week, I think it was more of a drama thing, and I actually had an issue with it. And I think I told my wife I thought she should go home just because of that.
Yeah, I was hoping. I mean, I didn't. If you were just considering what happened in the battle round, meaning getting the group and getting everybody in the audience involved, the song that he chose, the two songs, I would have gone with the Ram to stick around for another week.
Yeah, but the Ram singing was terrible.
He did have the weakest performance of the night.
I don't know. I think, yeah, he had the weakest of the night. Overall, of the two performances, I think Cyclops is worse than he is, but whatever. Cyclops made it on. So, spoiler alert, the Ram lost.
He did.
And now, spoiler alert, this is your last chance, people. We've said this enough times. If you don't know by now that we're going to say who the Ram was, good riddance. And again, this one's slightly shocking with the news of his departure.
Yeah, it was Joe Buck.
Joe Buck himself! On The Masked Singer. To no longer be part of the NFL on Fox. So,
or not even an employee of Fox for that matter, because he's probably going to not be on their baseball coverage anymore as well.
Yeah, probably not. Like I said, it was shocking, and it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked his performance of I want you to want me in the first night than how he did in the second night.
I don't think he did a great job on either of them. I think Firefly's voice, she deserves to be one of the she should have been one of the top two, but I think her drama, Cyclops is worse, and I think Cyclops goes home next week if they stay with this group.
No, it looks like they've said they're going to do a double elimination.
Oh,
so 2 people are going home next week.
It's probably going to be Firefly, and if it's the same group, it's going to be Firefly and Cyclops. Cause
yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Thingamabob to me has had the best performances week in and every single week so far.
Yep,
and
he's been amazing.
He has been amazing. So I'm hoping that the drama, whether it's intentional or unintentional, that the Firefly is creating, doesn't get her on to the next round.
Yep.
Because of how good Thingamabob has been so far.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's it, folks. That's our show. We are done for the week. We hope you have enjoyed it. If you are watching us on Facebook and you want to take us with you in your car, jump onto wherever you get your podcasts. Look us up, Balls and Sticks the podcast. You can find Rich and I in the same pose as we are in our picture here on Facebook. Rich, if they're listening to us but they want to watch us and maybe not sign into Facebook, what should they do?
Look for us over on the YouTube, Balls and Sticks the podcast. And if you want to watch us live, interact with us through the chat so you can get a show shout out, feel free to watch for us on Facebook, and also check us out on Facebook to join in so you can be notified when we post our weekly poll questions, and look for fans of Balls and Sticks.
If you're watching us on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to get the notifications, and give us a like. Thank you. And Rich, I think we're going to let the old man do it. What's it time to do?
Roll that intro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks the podcast with your hosts, Mike and Rich.